Welcome back to Corporate Nitro. Corporate Nitro have just done another deal, $50 for an Acme Condor Pro 1/10 scale buggy. Original price $395 AUD. Bought this one used now for $50 AUD. What's that? About $32 US. It's complete. Owner tells me it's seized. Looks like if it's seized, it shouldn't take too much to get it running. Bit of gummed up fuel in the bottom of the tank, so we'll have to clean that out, unseize the engine, give it a good clean. The body's got a little bit of dirt on it, so we'll clean that off now. So yeah, only paid $50 for this one. Comes with some hex drivers, $59. Okay, so good value deal there. And one little bench shock and some spare parts. Old style glow igniter that uses the big battery. Here is the big 1.5 volt battery. I've never seen one of these before, but there we go. It's probably still good. These kind of things tend to last forever. What's this one? After run oil. Fuel bottle. I've got one of these Venom fuel bottles. Some spare tires, still in good condition. Let's see the condition of the flywheel. Nah, flywheel looks good. Tires look good. Shocks look good. Rear shocks look good. Single speed. Now this car came with two engines, a .15 and a .18. It says on the box there that the 18 had a blue head and the 15 had a black head, and the tick is on the 15. So since this has got a black head and the tick is there, we know it's the 15. And I guess the other thing we want to know is, does the radio work? Yep, radio is working. And what about in here? Let's open this up and have a quick look. Okay, so don't think those will work, but we'll get it out. We'll see if we can get this going. Acme Racing Condor, just giving the body shell a bit of a wash here in the soapy water. The Acme .15 size engine, it's quite interesting. Looks exactly like a cheap Chinese HSP engine. It's quite long. It's got a rotary carb, a side exhaust. It's a single speed with a pull start. The receiver batteries are dead. I've already tried them. Fuel tank is got a little bit of goop on the inside. Whole thing's covered in crap. So I think to start, we will remove the receiver batteries, remove the fuel tank, give the chassis a bit of a clean, and then connect up a better battery and see if these servos even work. So actually I was wondering how he got away with using these massive low-C tyres on the rear, because the diameter is just huge compared to the original wheels. Well, it just became obvious when I looked at the front. There are no drive shafts in the front. They're both over here in the spares box. And that means, is it even four-wheel drive? Can I even put it back to four-wheel drive? The rear drive shaft from the center is going there, but there's no drive shaft going to the front. Where the hell is that drive shaft? Are we ever going to make this thing four-wheel drive again? I don't think so, because all we've got is two unequal length drive shafts. That tells me that one of those is the center and one of those is missing from the front. So he's probably crashed the front, lost the drive shaft, and decided just to make the whole thing rear-wheel drive instead. The original tyres have fatter ones on the rear than the front, and that's okay. But if you start looking at the front of the chassis, that's completely bent. That's had a massive knock there. That's bent, so he's crashed the front twice. If you look at the rear, that's bent, and this shock won't even stay on. So he's crashed this thing so many times that he's just using it as a rear-wheel drive buggy. And now that shock keeps falling off, he's given up on it completely. Well, as long as we've got a good engine, I think we'll be able to save this. All right, we've got the radio on. We've got a new 4A battery pack plugged in. We test the steering. We're going to turn left. Nothing. Turn right. We're getting a bit of right. What about left? Okay, it's interesting. Can't turn left, but we can turn right. Okay, and I believe the throttle needs to turn to the left when I accelerate. Okay, brake is working. The throttle is not working. Very interesting, only getting half the range of motion. Okay, now the steering is going. Whoa, this is crazy. This doesn't make any sense. Maybe this is junk. I'll probably have to throw this out. Just giving it a bit of a blowdown with the air compressor. What we've noticed is that most of this brown mud is just sticking here, probably because of the amount of oil that's accumulated there. But on this side, all this mud seems to have come off. So that's the difference between the clean side and the oily side. Let's get down to business. This thing is totally putrid. There is oil and some kind of fine sawdust or something everywhere, maybe a fine red dirt. Let's put all the plastics in a container and get ready to wash them. Let's put all our screw hardware in a little metal container in case we've got to clean them with the kerosene. I've noticed that the front shock towers are bent, the rear shock towers are bent, the spare shock towers in the container are bent. So let's get all this apart, straighten it all up in a little bench vise, and start pulling this car apart so that we can put the drive shafts back in. Wow, some big dents in that piston. Big chunks. Maybe a glow plug filament has fallen in there. Something's definitely been in there. I mean, the thing looks brand new. It's seized. It looks brand new, but not healthy. If we put a bit of heat on these screws, maybe we'll get them off. But there's just so much dirt there. Yeah, we got it. And that means the engine is off. Now we can see how much dirt there is. Corporate Nitro has just removed a .15 Acme Japanese engine from the Acme Condor. We know this one is made in Japan. How can we tell? Because it says Acme Racing, made in Japan. Time to get the cleaning tools out and make this Nitro great again. See, the rear drive shaft is in there, but the front drive shaft isn't in there. So we're just hoping that what we've got here in the spares container is the front drive shaft. So I've bought the two front drive shafts that go to the front wheels. I've bought those, and then we're just hoping that one of these is the front drive shaft. All right, we got the chassis off. See how dirty it is? We're gonna have to give that a clean. And the other good thing about this car is that you can remove everything from the chassis and it's all together in one piece. The only thing that fell out was the center transmission. Time to give this chassis a bit of a clean. We got the Junior Nitro gang cleaning the Acme Condor. Is that fun? You having fun?
Yeah.
While cleaning the chassis, we've noticed this damage here. All right, I don't want to get my fingers caught on that sharp aluminium. Okay, so we'll get the high-speed rotary tool. Let's switch over from the wire brush to the grinding tool and fix up that burr on the chassis. Oh yeah, that's looking really good again. Time to clean the fuel tank and then all the plastics. How do you clean a nitro tank? Well, soapy water you can clean the outside, but to clean the inside, just use alcohol or even use nitro. So the gummed up fuel that's settled at the bottom of the tank, I'm removing it with some old nitro. Shake it around, the gummed up fuel will come loose, and then you can empty it out. Don't open the lid and empty it out, turn it upside down. That way the fuel drains out from these nipples. You want to make sure that these nipples are not clogged, because you want air pressure getting in to pressurize the tank, and you want any stone filters in the tank to be free flowing. Not that there is one here, we have to use an inline filter, but it's always good to drain the tanks this way. While cleaning the center transmission and brake unit, I've noticed that it doesn't really spin very freely. So these two Phillips head screws here holding the brake caliper on, I'm just going to back them out a little bit, and that way this thing spins a lot more free. Alright, now that we've got a lot of dirt off with the large needle and then the toothbrush, I think what we're going to do next is heat it up, get it really hot, and see if we can remove the carb, because we've got to free up the carb. We've got to pull it apart, give it a good clean. It's all frozen. The flywheel's frozen, so the heat should loosen the gummed up oil in the bearings that's preventing the flywheel from turning. This is not budging at all, so I think what we'll do is we'll take the carb off so we don't damage it. So is the carb going to come out? Yeah, it is going to come out very easily. Alright, so now we can clean the carb. Oh, we got it.
Alright. Was soll man essen heute, Jojo?
Nothing.
Was essen wir?
Nothing.
Alright, well it's moving, but it doesn't want to move. So, let's give it some oil.
Clean up, clean up. Everybody clean up, clean up, clean up. Everybody clean up, clean up. You have to want to clean up, clean up. So I do hang it, hang it, hang it, hang it, hang it, clean.
Far out. This is so tight. I don't know if this engine has even been used more than one tank.
Are you talking to me or the camera?
Talking to Corporate Nitro fan club.
Oh. Of course.
Alright, let's see if this pull start works.
Alright, Jojo, you do. I'll text you when it's ready.
Whoa. I think I'm going to break the pull start. Alright, let's give it a bit more heat.
I found it!
Well, That's better. Alright, it's a 3-port engine with a massive exhaust port. 3 inlet ports. And I believe these Acme engines are made by Toki in Japan, if my memory is correct. The air filter has turned to cake and is disintegrating as soon as you touch it. Let's throw it in the bin. We'll keep the rubber, and we'll find some new sponge for this one. Let's remove that back plate. Oh, wow, not too bad in there. Just a little bit of slime, not too much. Not too much of that brown slime, but the real observation will be revealed once we remove that crankshaft. Get a real good look at those bearings. I don't know what that's on the pin there, crank pin. Maybe a little bit of rust. Not sure at this stage. All right, we've got a chassis. And we've got everything else. So what's missing? The front drive shafts and the center drive shafts. Alright, so to put these drive shafts in, you could have taken this shaft down the bottom, the hinge pin shaft out, or you could go with the pivot ball and remove these screws here. But why remove them? Just loosen them, okay? And that way you can just pop the drive shaft in. Don't even need to remove them. Alright, let's get some screws into the chassis, try and get these center dog bones in, center drive shafts, center transmission. Now if you look here, this screw is great, but there's something going on inside here. Not the plastic that it goes through, not the other plastic that it goes through, but it's supposed to be machined in here, but I think it's stripped. So I put a bit of fishing line on either side of the screw, and now it's got something to bite onto. There you go. Stripped, not stripped. Alright, we've got all our carb pieces. Let's put this carb back together. Now, when we put the throttle arm on to the carburetor, what we've got to do is we've got to make sure it's in a vertical position so that you've got a nice throw in the forward position to open up the carb, and then back to vertical again. Time to put the head back on, now that we've got the mounts on and the carb. That concludes the engine. It's all back together, carburetor, etc. Time to put it back in the car. In this session, we're probably going to make the little exhaust gasket for the manifold. Probably use this piece of cardboard here that the dog bones came in. And remember, you can always cut this out bigger. Right, there you go. Cardboard gasket. Looks great. Alright, total disaster here. I noticed that the fuel lid wasn't closing, so I just put a bit of nitro fuel on the O-ring to lube it up a bit, and then pushed it close, and then look at that, it's all cracked. The O-ring is cracked. So we're going to have to try and measure it up and look at what kind of O-ring we need. Maybe we've got one, maybe we have to order one. Let's see what happens when we remove it and start measuring it. Alright, we've measured the fuel tank O-ring, and it is 19 by 24 by 2.5. We're very lucky. The O-ring box that I've slowly been building up has proved useful. We've got in orange, we've got 19.2 by 24 by 2.4. All right, I think it's time to put the muffler on and the coupler. So we might put it on the engine first and do up all the zip ties, and then slide the muffler over the muffler stay and slide the engine in, set the mesh, and then do up the screws. I think that'll be better than trying to put the engine in and then attach everything later. Alright, I've noticed that this muffler is too close to the fuel tank. If we have an accident and we hit the muffler, it's going to smash into the fuel tank, could crack it. Look at the motor, it's in position now. Look at the engine. Okay, it's right up in there. Okay, that's not good. We're going to have to put this foam in there, just glue it into position, and then let the engine hold everything in place. Yep, that'll be better. Alright, time to put the engine screws in, and to do that, we'll get a bit of paper so we can set the mesh. Car on. Alright, steering is all over the place, and interestingly, the steering servo is all over the place. Let's bring that back to perpendicular. And since it's so far out, we won't do it with sub-trim. We'll just mechanically remove the servo horn and straighten it up. Yeah, look, I think this is going to fall out, this antenna wire. I don't want it to fall out, so just going to put a little bit of shoe glue on here, not much, and that'll just hold it in place. That completes the rebuild. We'll have to wait for a sunny day to go and test it. Cool little buggy, eh? Which fuel are we going to use? 25% or 16 nitro, 10 oil, or 15-15, 20 oil, 18 nitro, good for ABN, and 20% oil, 10% nitro, also good for ABN. Maybe this 15-15 would actually be better for the ABN. Going a little bit to the left, you have to fix up the sub-trim. Seems really good now. It's going great actually. I think what we'll do is we'll lean out the high a little bit more, and we'll raise the idle a little bit. The idle's a bit low. Slowest nitro I've ever seen. Got the Acme Condor. It's freshly rebuilt. It's a nice, warm, hot, sunny day outside. We've got some 15-15, which is aircraft fuel, but that's a lot of oil, and that's what these ABN engines need. We've already done a quick test run, and it seems to like the high oil content. It doesn't really seem to rev out or generate a lot of power or speed. Maybe if we lean it out a little bit more in this heat, we might get some good performance. Let's put the cameras on so we can make a proper documentary and see how we go in the park. Just in case you're wondering how I'm filming this, I'm using reusable zip ties. So we've got one camera facing forward and one camera facing back. Looks like the Wile E. Coyote put some jetpacks on the back of his Acme car, but this is not a an Acme car? Well, it is. It's an Acme Condor, yeah.